Well, greetings everyone, and welcome to another edition of Movie Goodness here on the KB Radio Network. This is where we examine life through cinema, and I am your host, Kevin Reed, and welcome everyone to a brand new month. We are in the month of June of 2022, and we are halfway through 2022. This year is flying by just like all the previous years for me. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but time is rapidly moving and I don't like it. I like it when I'm at work and I want time to fly by, but not, on your normal, average, everyday, whatever. But regardless, here we are. Today's episode is kind of a heavy one, kind of a hard one. This is episode I didn't want to do, to be honest with you. I tried to think of other things to talk about, other topics to discuss, to try to keep everything light and jubilant, because we're going through some dark times here. We have a war going on. We have poverty, gas prices are through the roof, and we are having multiple mass shootings around this country, United States, that is, and it is depressing. And my job, at least the burden that I have partaked in, I want to kind of be a diversion, if you will, from reality. I wanted to, not so much be just a Debbie Downer all the time, but it is what it is. But I did also promise when I created this podcast to be upfront and honest and only speak the truth and speak on issues that are bothering us as people, all people. I don't care, race, creed, religion, whatever. Something that affects everybody, and this is affecting everybody. And today's episode, we're going to talk about this recent school shooting that took place on May the 24th in Texas, in Robb Elementary School. And it really bothered me. It shook me to my core. It's one of these things that I just can't get over. It's not to denigrate any other mass shooting that has taken place throughout history. It's just that this one I don't know, I guess you could say hit home, for lack of a better term. Even though I have no relatives or people that I know that have went through this, but it just feels like I went through this and it's bothering me to no end. And I really do sympathize with all who went through this tragic event. And I picked this time to talk about this because I wanted to give it a few days. I really wanted to give it longer than this, but it's just been on my mind so heavy. I wanted to talk about it today, but I wanted to address a few things. First and foremost, the term thoughts and prayers. After this incident took place, and after every incident that happens, and when I say incidents, I mean these shootings, these mass shootings, school shootings, whatever. Every celebrity, every politician, everybody on social media, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers, thoughts and prayers. And I can understand where that gets tiresome, and you get tired of hearing that. It come a time when you got to start doing things yourself. And this is me as a spiritual person. This is somebody who believes in prayer, who believes in the power of prayer. But at the same time, prayer can only take you so far. God can only work with what you give him. And if you're not willing to do what you need to do to make a change. It's nothing going to change. Praying and thoughts and prayers, which, well, let me backtrack a little bit because I'm going so fast. I really missed the point. The point I was going to make initially, when all these politicians or whoever say thoughts and prayers, that's as far as their prayers go. And that's the way I believe it. Because if you truly are praying about the situation, you wouldn't be upholding these laws. You wouldn't be upholding the purchases of these guns. It's crazy to me that an 18-year-old kid can walk into a gun store and easily buy a weapon. But that same 18-year-old kid cannot walk to the corner drugstore and buy a 6-pack of beer. And that's crazy when you sit down and really think about it. Now, I'm not advocating for especially 15, but I'm not advocating for 18-year-olds to go out and buy beer. But I'm just saying that what's the difference here? You know what I'm saying? What is the why is it so easy to get a gun? Now, I know all those Second Amendment people who feel that is the most sacred text next to the Bible, and I actually think some people hold that up over the Bible, the right to bear arms. And my God, people, why do you feel you need those type of weapons? Those are military grade weapons. You're not in the military. Why do you need it? To go hunting? To go hunting what? What are you hunting other than people? Because that's all I ever seen it used for. You're not using an AR-15 to go hunt a deer. You're not going to tell, because it'll tear that. You're not hunting for what's the word I'm looking for here? Whatever. If you shoot a deer with an AR-15, you're not cooking the meat because you're going to tear that deer apart. So why are you using this weapon? You just wanted to have it. But I think in a lot of people's minds, they're stuck on the government taking their weapons away. And that's never been the issue. That's never been spoken of. The government is not going to come into your house and take your guns. It is stupid of you to think that. The whole argument is to have deeper background checks. Instead of walking in a gun shop and walking right out with a weapon, wait a while. And the reason for that is several reasons, but one of the main reasons is because people tend to buy weapons on an impulse. Something didn't happen, somebody did something to you, things of that nature. So you go to a gun shop to buy a gun. So it's fresh in your mind that whoever offended you or ran afoul of you, you're going to use this weapon against said person. But if you wait a while, maybe that'll give you some time to cool off, think it through, and come with a rational de-escalation of the situation that does not involve murder. That's my reason for it. Now, the other reasons, mental health checks, background checks, criminal records and stuff like that, yeah, that's a given. But all that, allow yourself to cool down some, and maybe you don't even need that weapon after a week or two of waiting. Because what's the rush? But they're fighting that. They're fighting that. And here in the United States, but in Louisiana where I live, they're trying to pass some type of carry law, whereas you don't even need to consider. You could just walk around like it's the OK Corral, like it's Dodge City now, and you can just walk around with your weapon, all willy nilly. What? It just doesn't make sense to me. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone, honestly. I do not understand politicians' way of thinking. The only thing I can truly think of, and I don't have any actual proof to the fact, but my heart and my mind navigates me to this one known thing, and that is the NRA. The NRA owns every politician in Washington. That's the only thing I can think of, because that is the most powerful organization on God's green earth. The UN don't have nothing on the NRA. Nothing. I mean, there are no regulations, no nothing against these people. They put more money into these politicians' back pocket to keep them off their backs more than anything. It's amazing to me. But anywho's, this isn't about gun control or nothing like that. Not this show, even though I done went on a gun control rant. But we're talking about the Robb Elementary School shooting, which took place on May the 24th of 2022. 18-year-old Salvador Ramos fatally shot 19 students and 2 teachers and wounded 17 other people. Earlier in the day, he shot his grandmother in the forehead at home, severely wounding her, but as of right now, she's still alive. Outside the school, he fired shots for approximately 5 minutes before entering with an AR-15 style rifle through an unlocked side entrance door. He then locked himself inside a classroom, killing 19 students and 2 teachers, and remained there for around 1 hour before a member of the United States Border Patrol Tactical Unit fatally shot him. This was the 3rd deadliest school shooting in the United States after the Virginia Tech shooting of 2007 and the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in 2012, and the deadliest in Texas. Law enforcement officers have been criticized for their actions in response to the shooting, and their conduct is being reviewed by several investigations by the Texas Rangers Division and the United States Department of Justice. After initially praising first responders to the shooting, Texas Governor Greg Abbott called for an investigation into the lack of action by commanders. Police officers waited 78 minutes on site before breaching the classroom to engage Ramos. Afterwards, local and state officials gave inaccurate reports of the timeline of police action and overstated police actions. The Texas Department of Public Safety acknowledged that it was an error for police enforcement to delay an assault on Ramos' position in the school-filled classroom, attributing this to the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District's police chief's assessment of the situation as one with a barricade subject instead of an active shooter. Following the shooting, which took place only 10 days after the 2022 Buffalo shooting at a supermarket, wider discussions ensued about American gun culture and violence, gridlocked in politics, and law enforcement's failure to halt the attack. Some have advocated for a renewal of the assault weapons federal ban. Others criticize politicians for their role in continuing to enable mass shootings. Republicans have responded by resisting the implications of gun control measures and called for increasing security measures in school, such as arming teachers. They also expressed concerns about the politicizing of the shooting. Some Republican senators, including Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, expressed an openness for a bipartisan agreement on gun reform, such as incentivizing states to pass red flags laws and expanding background checks for gun purchases. I'm gonna tell you like this. It's crazy to me that your go-to to combat this violence is to arm a teacher. Is it me, or is that the dumbest thing you ever heard? Okay, how are we going to combat these crazy shooters? We're going to put guns in other people's hands. We're just gonna throw more guns at it. That's like if my house is on fire, and the fire department pulls up, grabs gallons of gasoline, and just keeps throwing it at it. And their solution to the problem is, well, they'll make it burn out quicker. And what's the point? What's the point? It makes no sense. You're just gonna arm teachers. And what if the teacher have a bad day one day? And so you're gonna put the guns in this teacher's hands. And what if little Bobby chewing gum, and teacher tells little Bobby to spit out the gum, and he refuses, and Miss Susie clicks out and picks up her gun and shoots little Bobby in the kneecap or something. I mean, just think about this. This doesn't make sense. But these are people who we put in office. These are people who you voted for. Now, to a lot of people, a lot of listeners here who I love all of you all. There's some of y'all here who probably agree with that solution. That makes zero sense. I'm sorry. It's stupid. It doesn't make a lick of sense. I mean, just have tougher gun laws. Nobody says you have to take guns away. Just make it harder for people with mental health issues to acquire them. Because this is where I'm going next. Mental health, man. Mental health. This 18-year-old dude obviously has some mental issues. The dude shot his grandma, took her car, crashed her car, ran into a school, locked himself in a room with 19 kids and shot them. Like it was, I don't know, fish in a barrel. I mean, just mold them down. Something was loose in the head. Something wasn't right with this dude. And I ain't making excuses for him, because what he did was pure evil. And what happened to him. I'll just leave it at that. But obviously he had some mental issues. And we, as people, we all have a form of mental health issues. Everybody, in some shape, form, or fashion. I've spoken on this show before. Me personally, I have anxiety issues. I've dealt with depression, and others. So I know the effects of mental health, and I know what it can do to your mind, your mood, your body, and how it affects others around you. And so when it's happening to a kid, and I dealt with this as a kid, but I didn't know what was going on. I just shook it off and kept it moving. But not everybody is like me. Some kids can't handle that. And some grown people can't handle that. It's when your mind goes kaput, it's really nothing you can do. But it's one thing about mental health. They have red flags. There are signs to this. There are. I know I gave off signs. I gave off a lot of warnings. You know, so and you know, my kids have shown signs. You know, my wife has shown signs. Other people around me have shown signs. And so it's up to the individual or individuals to see this, to notice these, and ask, how you doing? You know, you all right today? How you doing today? Now, in some cases, a lot of people will probably say, I'm all right. Because that's what I always say. At least that's what I used to say. I've gotten better through the help of my wife. I've gotten better. because they used to be all, I'm all right, and I won't say nothing. When my father passed away, for about a year, I didn't speak. I went to work and I came home, and I locked myself in a room, in the dark room, for a year, every day. I went out and did some things, like I'll cut the grass. I'll try to keep it as normal as possible, but I was depressed, deeply depressed. And she tried all the time. Even when I was getting mad at her for asking, she still would keep asking. And eventually it broke through. And I'm not 100% there now, but sometimes, on occasions, I will open up. So it does help. And I don't get mad even when I don't answer, or I'll give this typical, "Oh, I'm all right." I don't get mad when she constantly asks. I know the tropes now. So it's different. But I can say that a lot of kids do send up red flags, and we have to pry. We do have to pry. I know sometimes we don't want to get in our kids' lives and, get in their business and whatnot, and, give them their space, but we still have to get into their business. we have to find out what's going on, whether that's pestering them or going through their things, whatever. Yeah, they're gonna get mad, but whatever. I'd rather you get mad at me for going through your dressers or your closet or seeing what's under your bed or something like that, than keeping this stuff bottled in, and one day it boils over into this. So we have to be vigilant, and we have to teach ourselves how to handle it, because, and I hate to keep harping on my great state of Louisiana, but a few years ago we had a horrible governor, Bobby Jindal. I'm gonna give him his credit today. Bobby Jindal was the worst governor in the history of governors. I'm not gonna say the history of the United States of Louisiana. I'm talking about of the United States, period. Probably of the world. This dude was horrible. He did absolutely nothing. His first order of business, which sticks out to me, because he came in talking about he was going to cut the budget and do this and do that and whatever. The one thing he cut was mental health. He cut the funding to all these mental health facilities. And these places closed down. These places, these people who needed help had nowhere to go. And the state suffered from it. Now, I don't know if any other states had to deal with that like this, but I know Louisiana did, and it showed. Police don't know how to handle. They're not trained to deal with people who going through these mental health issues, and so they only trained to arrest you and shoot you. But that's another subject for another day. So they're not trained to talk you down or take you to a facility or whatever the case may be. They can't. They put you in jail, sit you in jail. They don't know what to do with you. They let you back out, and they do the same thing, because they're not getting help. And in that event, we have to help those who are in need by any means necessary. We honestly, man, I mean, especially our children. Children's mental health is this is what I wanted to talk about. Mental health conditions are 16% of the global burden of disease and injuries in people age 10 to 19 years old. Half of all mental health conditions start by 14 years old, but most cases go undetected and untreated. Depression is one of the leading causes of illness and disability among adolescents. Suicide is the fourth leading cause of death in 15 to 19-year-olds. Exposure to childhood trauma can cause mental health disorders and poor academic achievement. Ignoring mental health conditions in adolescence can impact adulthood as well. 50% of preschool children show a natural reduction in behavior problems. The remaining experience long-term consequences. It implies physical and mental health and limits opportunities to live fulfilling lives. A result of depression during adolescence and adulthood may be substance abuse. The average age of onset is between 11 and 14 years for depression disorder. Only approximately 25% of children with behavioral problems refer to mental services. The majority of children go untreated. This is an article that I found speaking on children and young adults dealing with mental health. And the most haunting sentence in that is that the majority of children go untreated. I know there's a stigma in certain communities that, bringing your child to a therapist. I know in the black community, it's not popular to go to a therapist or go talk to somebody. But as of recent years, that it's starting to break away from that tradition, which is good because we need somebody to talk to. We need somebody to help you along this journey, because it's not an easy journey to be on, and mommy and daddy can only help so far. We actually need a professional to talk to you about these issues that can really help you with these issues. But yeah, I feel that this Salvador Ramos, really needed to talk to somebody. Not to say that was going to help anything, but maybe, just maybe, hindsight being 2020, maybe they could have stopped it. Maybe if he would have got the help that he needed. But sadly, we'll never know. Now, speaking on the response of the police department, that is something that is upsetting. Look, if they had a poor response time or whatever, that's one thing. But to lie about it, that's a horse of a different color there. That's something that is. How can you try to cover up malfeasance in a situation like that? That is I don't know, man. It just screams selfish. Y'all more worried about your careers or your response time, because I remember when it first took place on that day, everybody was praising the first responders and lifting them up like, oh yeah, they were Johnny on the spot, whatever the case may be. But then it all started coming out. They could have breached earlier. They could have breached when they first got there. Now, I understand there are protocols. I understand you can't go in there like you're John McClane and Die Hard and just burst through the door and as soon as you get there and act all gun-ho about it and blah, blah, blah. I get all that, but my gosh, man. I mean, there were reports that they got into it with some of the parents that were there. I mean, these parents, think about it. Your children are locked up in this school. All you know is there's a shooter there. Yeah, you're trying to get in there. I remember years ago when my kids were in high school and they had a lockdown. And it was supposed to be a shooter on campus. And I just so happened to be home that day. And you know how I found out? School didn't call me. I found out on Facebook. Well, I didn't. My wife did. She saw it on Facebook. She called me because she was at work. So, of course, I hopped in my truck and I went over to the school. Everybody was there. All the parents was there trying to get their kids, trying to get into school. Police would not let us on the campus because it would have been too chaotic. I get it, but you have to get it from our standpoint too. Something's got to happen here. I mean, y'all out here trying to hold us back. You need to be in there trying to get this shooter so I can get my babies. You know what I'm saying? So it come to find out it was I think it was a false alarm or something like that. Or I think the kid had a stapler. They thought it was a gun, but it was end up being a stapler. If I'm not mistaken. But needless to say, they were all right. But I can sympathize with those parents because I remember my frame of mind at that moment. I'm about to go into school. You either gonna shoot me, or old boy, or old girl, whoever in there with the gun gonna shoot me. But I'm going in there and get my girls. You know, that was my frame of mind right before they called it off. You know, called off the so-called standoff. But yeah, man, this is a tragic situation, just like all of them. All these shootings, you know, brought up the Buffalo incident in Buffalo, New York, the shooting at the grocery store that this so-called white supremacist, and he was 18 years old as well. Well, he was taken in alive, so you can guess what race he was. But yeah, he just hunting black people in a grocery store and shot them up with, guess what, an AR-15. And so I'm gonna list some of these school shootings that has taken place since 1999, which the biggie of the big ones took place. The Columbine school shooting in Colorado took place in 1999. So these are the top 10 deadliest shootings in the United States since then. At number 10, you have the Northern Illinois University shooting, which left 6 people dead. That was in 2008. At number 9, you have the West Nickel Mines school shooting in Burt Township, Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, which also left 6 people dead. That was in 2006. Coming in at number 8, in the year 2012, you have university shooting in Oakland, California, which left 7 people dead. Next up, you have the Red Lake shootings in Minnesota. That was in 2005. That left 10 people dead. Santa Fe high school shooting in 2018 in Texas also left 10 people dead. In 2015, community college in Oregon, 10 people dead. In 2018, the Stoneman Douglas high school shooting in Parkland, Florida, which left 17 people dead. Coming in at number 3, the shooting we were just discussing, the Robb Elementary School shooting in Uvalde, Texas, leaving 22 dead. Coming in at number 2, Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, leaving 27 people dead. That was in 2012. And coming in at number 1, in 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting, leaving 33 dead. I mentioned Columbine massacre that left 13 people dead. But it's bad that is that many school shootings and that much death. And when you see these numbers, you realize you have to really think here. These are all children. There's some teachers in there, but these are mostly children that perished in these shootings. And yeah, that's a hard pill to swallow. Now, it didn't just start in 1999. You had I think you can Google this. The University of Texas tower shooting in Austin, which took place in 1966, that left 16 people dead. In 2001, Santana High School in California, 2 people were killed there. I'm not about to go through all these. This is a whole laundry list of schools, sadly. But they were just 1 or 2 or some 4s in there. I experienced one. Nobody died, but when I was a freshman in high school here in Louisiana, at my high school, they had a kid. He got mad at the teacher because she moved his seat, I believe was his reasoning behind it. But so the next day he came with an old rusty .22, and he tried to shoot the teacher. But the gun jammed. He was pointing at her head, but the gun jammed. And while he was trying to get the gun to work in his hands, it went off and it hit her in the leg. I can't remember her name, but it hit her in the legs, and he dropped the gun and ran. He didn't run out to school. He ran to the gym, and this is where I was. And so he ran in there and he was talking to his buddies, and I guess he was telling them what he just did. And now I wasn't around him, but I could see him. I was sitting in the stands, and all of a sudden you hear them tell him, "Man, you better get out of here. You better get out of here." And then over the intercom, they announced, they looking for him and blah blah blah. And so he went to running. He ran back across the gym, even though it was an exit door right where he was standing that would have took him out of the school. But he decided to run back across the gym. And that's when one of the coaches ran and tackled him. I mean, it was textbook tackle, by the way, and apprehended him. But anywho's, that was my closest experience to an actual school shooting. That idiot. I can't remember his name either, because I would have gave him his props today. But anyways, because that was well over 25 years ago. It's bad, man. This is sad that we even have to talk about this. My thoughts and prayers go out to all those families that are dealing with loss today. They don't have their children. They don't have their wives. Heard the story of the one teacher whose husband was on his way to the school to put flowers down because his wife was one of the teachers that died. And on the way to the site to put the flowers down, he had a heart attack and died. That man literally died of a broken heart. And that was I broke down when I read it. I was like, bro, that is sad. They were high school sweethearts, and they leave behind 4 children. And so it's unbelievable. But anyway, let's move on. Let's get this one over with, because this is sad. So the movie, I never did mention what movie we're talking about, but the movie that we're discussing today is a film that I watched about a year or so ago, because it has my name in the title, and I didn't know what it was about. But it deals with a kid with a mental health issue and a school murder. And so this film is called We Need to Talk About Kevin. We Need to Talk About Kevin is a 2011 psychological thriller drama directed by Lynn Ramsey, and is based on the 2003 novel of the same name by Leonard Shriver. A long process of developing and financing began in 2005, with filming commencing in April of 2010. Tilda Swinton stars as the mother of Kevin, struggling to come to terms with her psychopathic son and the horrors he has committed. Swinton was nominated for a Golden Globe Award, a Screen Actors Guild Award, and a BAFTA for Best Actress in a Leading Role. It received generally positive reviews from critics. To put it in a nutshell, this film centers around Tilda Swinton. She's an artist. I'm sorry, she's a writer, and has no desire to have kids. She didn't really want any kids, and she ended up getting pregnant and having this boy, Kevin, who is portrayed in the film by Ezra Miller, who has mental issues of his own if you read up on him. But in any event, I'm sorry. And she was kind of standoffish to her son. She really, because she didn't want him. She just didn't want him. She never showed any affection, any love for her son. And this affected him deeply. He was disturbed deeply throughout his whole and the movie just takes place with her coming to grips with her son Kevin killing these kids in this school. He locked himself in the gymnasium and killed the kids with a bow and arrow. So her coming to grips to how this happened and why her son committed these murders and stuff, it is a deep psychological thriller, as I said before. It is interesting. Not one of my favorite films. It's a slow burn. It's one of these films that and I say slow burn, it's not really a long movie, but it's something that you have to commit to because it's real dark. There's nothing cheery about this movie at all. Of course, by the subject matter, but it is a very disturbing film, and it's very telling on how we can affect our children's upbringing or attitudes, how they act. I guess you're trying to say, and the realization that she could have stopped this. She never said this is now, but it is through her performance. And as she gets to the end of the movie, she realized it was really that she showed this boy no affection, and she really doomed him from the start. And it's not to excuse what he did, but she is complicit in a way, and that's basically the journey of the film. And what I was talking about earlier, how us as parents or grandparents or whoever or influences in our children's lives make an impact on our children. So this film, as I said before, is not one that I would revisit, but I do recommend you watching. It is an interesting film, and just for Tilda Swinton's performance alone, it is worthy of a watch. And I give this film a C+. Yeah, watch it. It's just very dark film. Nothing about this film is happy and cheery. There is no there is no happy ending. There is no sunshine and rainbows. None of that. This is depressing, and that's how I felt when I was depressed. But in any event, it is worth watching. So we need to talk about Kevin gets a C+. So everybody, look, this is a tough subject. It was hard for me to get through it. I don't know if y'all could tell in my voice, but I was having to hold back a lot talking about this because I have kids, and as I said before, I had a scare with my children being in school and being on lockdown, and all I could think about the whole time of this incident taking place, the Robb Elementary School, was, man, that could have been my kids, or that could have been my nephews or my nieces or whatever, but it is somebody's kids. It is somebody's nephews and nieces. And speaking on mental health, think about those children who survived this incident. They're going to need help. They just witnessed something that me and you have never witnessed. They just witnessed their little friends being murdered. They witnessed this. One of the little girls who was in the classroom, you know how she survived? Yeah, I want to know how she survived. She covered herself in one of the kids' blood and laid on the floor and played dead. That's how she survived. And to think that a 7 or 8 year old had the presence of mind to do that is really disturbing, man. Yeah, this is tough. I don't know why I chose to talk about this. This is sad, bro. But yeah, those kids who went through this, they're gonna need some talking to. They're gonna need to be. And I ain't talking about one time. Have one conversation with them. Oh, how you doing, little Susie? Oh, I'm okay. Okay. Well, she said she's fine. No, I'm talking about you need to really get into their heads, man, because this is going to live with them the rest of their lives. I've never seen nothing like this, so I don't know how to deal with nothing like this. They need to, my God, man, I just can't imagine. And the people and the parents of these children. The parents of these children, one of the parents, well, I'm going to say this and we're going to get up out of here. One of the parents, or the mother and the father, they had just went to the school because it was awards day, I believe, and their daughter just got a perfect attendance or something to that effect. She got an award. And after the ceremony, they kissed her and said, well, we'll see you in a little while when we come and pick you up. They never picked her up. So, anyways, everybody, look, I'm not even going to ask the question today. Look, just email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. If you want to shout us out, look us up on social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, or YouTube. Just look up the KB Radio Network. If you're listening on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, don't forget to leave those 5-star ratings and reviews. If you're listening on other listening platforms, don't forget you can share and like the show. Let everybody know that you're listening to the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me today on this depressing episode. Remember, keep these people in your prayers. Don't be like the politicians who just say that to deflect. Honestly, pray for these people because they need it. There's nothing else we can do. I can't bring the children back. So the best thing I can do is pray for their healing, pray for comfort for these people. So everybody, I love you, and please, everybody, love one another. Spread love. That's the only thing that can defeat hate is love. And until we speak again, you all be blessed.